Welcome back to the channel, lads and ladies, and welcome to the Angel of Death himself. Did you catch the name? DTO06913, something like that, in the T14 American Experimental, we'll call this a hybrid tank, a mix between a heavy and a medium. I suppose it was intended to be a heavy tank, but by the time it was produced, the heavy tank meta had moved on. An interesting concept, to say the least. Myself, I'm not a huge fan of the thick side skirt armor that they have on this tank, especially since the upper hull sides are not as thick as you'd want them to be, but with a bit of an angle. This is an American tank that you can actually angle a bit. A tactic that is supported well by the upper hull armor and the thick casting on the lower hull. The gun, the familiar M375mm spud gun. The turret, up to 127mm thick on the cheeks, a bit less on the mantlet, but with some layering. This has not terrible frontal armor. And the hero of today's replay is actually someone I met in this match on the enemy team, and I will be making my appearance in this video. And when I wasn't facing, we'll call him Dito here, when I wasn't facing Dito, and no, I'm not in that Italian SPAA that opened up on him. I'm going to be driving something a bit different. In fact, you're going to see the burned out husk of a Panzer IV-G that got derped real good by a KV-2. That'll be your introduction to me in this video. But enough about me, I digress. Dito did very well in this match. He fought bravely, sometimes alone, as his teammates got picked off all around him. That process already begun, as I've taken my shot at the KV-2 and probably gotten derped real bad by the two other KV-2s that were lined up waiting to welcome me to the wrong neighborhood. Dito, now, with a good number of teammates and good support from these Soviet tanks. Think red thoughts, Tovarish. You are in the company of cultured gentlemen. KV-2 fam. Now, something I've noticed about Dito here is that he has some neat, historically relevant decals on his tank. He'll actually be using the view from the gunner's sight here, so you'll get a bit of parallax. There's that burned out Panzer IV-G I was talking about. That's me. As Dito does the honorable equivalent of squatting on my corpse here as he checks the area around himself. And I will be showing up some more in this match a bit later. A Panzer III straight through the frontal hull as his ammunition cooks off for the kill. Dito now keeping his head on a swivel, as you do, and we are in cinematic mode. This was just such a beautiful setting for this battle, a gorgeous time of day. And it's nice to have the clutter of the UI off the screen to enjoy this beautiful American heavy tank. The T14 Rank 2, battle rating 4.3, quite high for a Rank 2 vehicle. In the American premium line, is one of my favorite vehicles from back in the day. I used to play this tank in another tank game, and I was extremely happy to see it come around the same time as the Excelsior to the game, both of which were favorites of mine in World of Tanks. KV-2 Tovarish gets taken down by an unseen foe, now revealed to be the Chinu 2. taken down swiftly, and... or is that a Chinu Kai? I'm not quite sure. Anyway, he dead now. Taken down swiftly by the quick gunnery of Dito, as that narrow Japanese tank does what a narrow tank can do, moving through that hallway to his death. First shot into the enemy Stug takes down, I believe, was that taking down the gunner or the entire Stug? Yes, it is. He sets the entire Sturmgeschütz on fire there. The beautiful high explosive effect of that American armor-piercing high explosive round shrapnelizing the whole crew inside that German casemate tank destroyer. Dito repositioning after firing his shot, as you do. Quite a solid strategy, looking around buildings, no doubt listening to hear the enemy team, my team, repositioning all around him, and things are getting a bit grim here. The German team, together with the Italians and the Japanese, focusing on this capture zone, picking off Dito's teammates one by one as they position themselves defensively around this capture zone. Soon, Dito will stand alone. Until that time, it is the listening game, it is the mini-map game, and it is the peeking around corners for any opportunity to catch his enemies unawares. Rumor has it that a small-time YouTuber who's grinding out the event will be making his appearance once again in this video. Keep your eyes peeled for a very handsome Churchill Mark III pilot, won't you please? A shot into the Stug. It looked like that one took down the cannon barrel, and indeed it did with the round. As you can see, that parallax nicely played there, by the way. A shot into the crew compartment deals heavy damage to the enemy Stug, but he stays alive for just a bit, long enough to take a shot into the engine compartment as he backs around the corner. A column of smoke still rises from the enemy Stug, who has not yet deployed his fire extinguisher. Continual damage and a beautiful look. I told you, this is a gorgeous setting for a fight to the death. Sorry, Captain, can't go to war today. The world's just too beautiful. As the Stug burns down, I guess he didn't have FPE. A shot into another engine compartment, this time what is that thing? One of those Japanese mediums. It looks like he has the shorter 75, which is roughly the equivalent of the gun you find on this American tank, with I think perhaps a bit less high explosive filler in the APHE round, but it's been a while since I used that tank. Oh, peeky peeky, we have an ally T-34 backing up Dito. I would not park there, Ivan. You have your butt facing toward a main avenue of advance. Looks like a T-34-57. The hubris is strong with these guys, who are equivalently, or they're roughly the equivalent, I should say, of the German Panzer IV F2, trading a bit of armor for a slightly narrower bore. And muzzle velocity, of course, in the T-34-57, making up for the smaller size of its projectile, giving it quite good characteristics for long-range shooting on, we'll call it, medium armored targets, and with incredible amounts of penetration at close range. Dito, knowing from his looking at the mini-map that his teammates are running few, the enemy running rampant around him. You can hear a tank off to the left, a tank to his right and rear, both of those enemies, as Dito is set up in a dug-in defensive position, watching the main avenue of advance and listening. Oh, too late. He doesn't notice the enemy tank that comes and snipes that T-34-57. Now, Dito, aware of the danger, yet unwilling to fully commit to angling toward this new avenue of advance, now puts himself into a position to try and bait shots from the enemy, sticking out his Ladies and gentlemen, the Japanese SPAA gets taken down by Dito as we hear more enemy tanks positioning themselves around this corridor. Dino now checking around, seeing the Chinu sticking out a bit of hole, hoping the enemy will take the bait, and there's our very attractive and charismatic German captured Churchill Mark III driver. That's right, yours truly. I took his track down, I got a shot into his transmission, or maybe I didn't get his transmission, I was trying for his transmission. He gets my track as I push a bit further forward here than I need to, hoping that the Chinu will back me up. Spoiler, he doesn't. Dito now soaking a few shots with his upper frontal plate. The Chinu pushes forward finally and takes down Dito after he himself wiped out your narrator, who is in the Churchill Mark III. I quickly go to my respawn. Dito quickly selecting a new vehicle. The Sherman, I think this is the M4A2, forgive me if I'm wrong, sitting at a 3.7 battle rating with some tack on track armor to help a little bit with survivability, and it does help. Opening up with the 50 cal and the coaxial machine gun, trying to shoot down that Italian heavy fighter, twin engine fighter, and whoever was in that fighter, how do I say this in Italian? Mucho mas thank you, senor. I really appreciate his work marking targets and harassing ground targets. Even things like getting the enemy to open up and try and shoot at him helped my team to locate our foes, and we definitely needed every advantage we could get. We were behind on the capture zones, and yet we were putting up a strong fight. About this time, I was on the other side of the map, duking it out with an ASU-57 that got the jump on me. I managed to take him down, thanks for asking. Dito pushing boldly past some bombs, smaller bombs if I'm not mistaken, perhaps dropped by that Italian heavy fighter. Some retaliation perhaps for the Dakaing that he received at the hands of Dito. Dito taking down an unidentified enemy tank in the middle of the road. The ejected cannon from some vehicle. Is that a 75 or a 57? What do you think? It looks like it came out of a T14 if I'm not mistaken. That would be a big ol' kaboom. As Dito's ally in the T-34 gets taken down, or did he just drive around the corner? Cinematic mode, kind of hard to tell. We hear bombs drop, not close enough for damage. That enemy Italian still harassing, still marking targets, being useful to my team for sure. Dito pushing forward now, listening. I can hear an enemy vehicle off to the left. Could it be a Panzer IV-G? A very handsome Panzer IV. What? I just think perhaps the commander of that Panzer IV was especially good looking. That's right. Here I am. I see him through the wall. He starts to aim. In the smoke, couldn't quite find his target, but I've found my mark as I get revenge on the man who killed me, hoping on my own to hold this capture zone long enough to turn the tide of the battle. So I've made my appearance in this replay once again. It was a lot of fun playing in this battle. It was a hard fought match. I think I picked up around 8 kills in this one. Dito himself also picks up 8 kills, being very useful to his team, where he focused on capturing and holding this one zone, which did end up being the pivotal capture zone for this battle. I moved around a little bit, tried to pick up some flanking kills, and indeed that's what I did. and I just couldn't manage to turn the tide. The very aggressive Soviet players, the very effective American tanks backing them up made enough of a difference. Dito's team is going to win this match, and it does end up being because of his contributions in this battle. So Dito, well fought. I really did try my best to take you down, and you were, well, I mean, that's hardly a way to treat an old friend on the battlefield now, is it? As he gets a very convenient side shot into, I think that was me, and takes that Panzer IV down. Indeed, that was me. I was looking to reposition after I captured the zone, and he was just too quick on the reinforcements. And honestly, I should have known better, but there's only so much you can do when there's enemy tanks all around. Yeah. Like I said, tough battle, hard fight, facing KV-1s and T-34s at the same time. Not an easy proposition by any means, especially difficult in these close range encounters, where the armor of these tanks can matter quite a bit. The good killing power of the M4 comes in, and Dito's good play here, bringing forth a victory for his team. Look at the carnage on this point, with dead tanks everywhere. And thank you all for watching. There's a link to the Discord if you'd like to submit your own replays or connect with me or the other people in the Toshio Thunder Zone. And I will catch you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.